Welcome back to the Celtics Nation Rise podcast. I'm your host, Griffin Aldridge, and we have a very special guest on the podcast today. We have Celtics superfan GRD. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. You want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Hey, well, I really appreciate it. Once I knew the name of the show was Celtics Nation, I had to come on here because I love the fan base and Celtics Nation worldwide. Everybody around that roots for the Celtics, I like the name that you guys chose over here. So I'm happy to be on here. And I know this is your first season, but I believe in your grind. You've already talked to me about how many guests you've had and stuff, and I want to call you the rookie of the year right now, bro. Like nobody's been on the run that you've been on this year.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So, my first question is, before we get into like the game and everything, because you went to the game today, where did your Celtics love start? Like, what made you become such a big Celtics fan?
So when I was younger, the Celtics were not the best team. It was like a lot of like hustle and bustle about like Paul Pierce and Antoine Walker and stuff. But like for me, I fell in love with Allen Iverson and like Paul Pierce in like 2001, 2, and I don't know, something about it like captivated me, like the fashion about the NBA, like collecting the sneakers. I don't know if you can see behind me, I have a crazy amount of sneakers and stuff, but uh, I just think like all of that, I like always loved like the jerseys the players wore, collecting those, and then like being lucky enough to be born in Boston, like it automatically made me a leprechaun. So I feel like going to games and my dad bringing me in the early 2000s when the team wasn't good, I was able to like meet so many of the players. It wasn't what it is now. And like now I feel like it's such bright lights and like everybody goes, everybody like tries to meet the players. Before it was like a lot less. So I fell in love with it before it was like popular, I feel like. And now that it's like over popular, it's kind of like sad. It's like, damn, my kids are never gonna have the access that I had when I was a like young fan coming up.
So I find that awesome because it's so similar with me because when I was in high school, I would always wear Celtics jerseys and I would walk down the halls and everyone was like, Griffin, are you gonna wear something other than Celtics jerseys? And I'm like, nope, this is my passion. And I comment on,
And Griffin, you were in high school when like Gordon Hayward snapped his leg and stuff too, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like those were as good as the Celtics were and stuff. It was still stressful to be a Celtics fan sometimes, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
you were still that guy with the Celtics on no matter what day it was. Good. I appreciate that, bro.
I will say this, especially in 22, when they lost the championship, the next day I went to school with a Celtics jersey and people were taking pictures of me and posting me on their story. Guy, he sucks. And I'm like, I'm still rocking it. I know one day they're gonna win it. And last year they did. So they redeemed themselves. And that's just showing staying a true fan over time. Like with the Red Sox,
And
I still am too with the Red Sox.
and also it's a little bit we're a little sick too. Like after we see a crushing loss defeat, like the next day we'll just like talk ourselves out of it and like say like, no, it's okay. It was just a one off and the Celtics are gonna be good, blah blah blah. Championship is still on the menu, you know.
Yeah, because that's how it's been and I feel like especially this year where they had such a rough patch and now they're just coming back strong and they're like, all right, we still got it in us. Like, no need to worry, you know? Um, Talking about that really quick, just meeting players when you were younger, I wanted to ask this. Um, you have such a great relationship with Porzingis. Actually, I was able to meet him because of you. I saw that on your story, and my brother and I went to the meet and greet where they had these shirts and everything, and you were honestly on the float with him as well. So, what's your kind of relationship with Porzingis, if you don't mind me asking?
So first of all, like you met him and stuff. Isn't he such a nice guy? He's like,
Such a nice guy because they said those meet and greets are like only like, all right, quick, you gotta get out of there. He was like, how are you guys? How are you guys doing? Like, and he
nah.
just made the experience so worth like going to buy that, you know?
And plus he's like so tall. Or was he sitting down when you
He
saw him?
was
Which one?
sitting on that one, but
Ah,
you could still see how tall he was. Even sitting down, he
hell
towered
yeah.
over us. And I'm a tall guy. Like for my height, I'm like 6'3", so that's tall up here, you know? So seeing him,
Yep.
I'm like, what the heck?
Um, So my relationship with Porzingis is a unique one where it's like I never want to like force myself onto being a cool with the NBA player. Like sometimes like I don't know, like I don't do that. Like I'm older now too, especially. So with the Porzingis thing, it was like I went to a UFC fight in like 2020 and all of a sudden this guy was sitting a couple rows behind me, Porzingis, and yo, at the time, I went on my phone and I looked up, yo, what this guy's record is against the Celtics, and I think it was like 2-15 against the Celtics head to head, like whenever he played Boston. So I went up to him and I told him that I was like, yo, bro, like, look, your record when you go against the Celtics is 2-15, but if you ever come on the Celtics, that means you can't lose to the Celtics. So yeah, that was like my initial thing. I took a picture with him, and that was in 2020. And then when this guy got traded to the Celtics last summer, it was almost like I broke the ice with him, and like he saw that interaction that we had. Like I posted it, and then I photoshopped a picture of this guy wearing the jersey number 8, and I sent it to him and stuff. Sent him a couple other numbers, but 8 stuck out to him, so that's why he chose that number. And then a couple weeks later, like he gave me a shout out on the Celtics podcast for like helping him pick the number and shit. And it's just been a cool relationship ever since. Over there in my room, he gave me like a jersey with the number 8, like just as an appreciation.
That's awesome. That's incredible. So, a question I wanted to ask too is going on that championship parade. I tell you, when I was there watching the parade, I saw you, but I didn't see Porzingis, and I was like, there he is.
Were you at the beginning?
Yes, I was. I
So
what?
right at the beginning, it's not like we had like a like I don't know, before I in the military we have like a briefing before we go out in the duck boat. There was no briefing. We didn't know what to do. We just like went out there. Me, I was kind of like I've been to parades before, so I kind of knew to venture out to the back. Porzingis was up in the front in the seat.
That was
But if
you.
you watch the video, I'm like yelling to him, like, yo, get over here, dog. This is all you. This is not me. But Porzingis is actually the type of guy that, like, he knew how many years I've been waiting for a championship. So this guy is telling me, like, yo, this day is for you too. This is all you. Like, he's an amazing dude. Like, I don't know, like, I don't have no like uh, there's no reason why he needed to bring me and stuff, but it was like just he recognized like a lot of the fan base like was underneath my wings last year because I brought a lot of people together. I did a lot of things for charity, and I just believe like he witnessed a lot of this stuff, so it was like a reward at the end of the journey. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I just have to say too, just an incredible guy. I will say I went to one game last year and he comes out with his coffee and he cheers it to the crowd and
Uh,
I'll show you real quick. That's us with him. That was sick. Like
oh hell yeah,
Scott
that's awesome.
even towered over me there. I was like, all right, that's sick. No, just an incredible guy. And would you say he's a great reason for Banner 18?
I mean, he didn't play so many games in the championship run, but what I will say is when he was on the court, it was a different vibe. Like the whole garden like built him up during the playoffs. Like he was some sort of like UFC fighter when he would come out, and like we were going crazy for him because he really does like change what the Celtics do, and that's talking about last year's championship run, and then this year, like just seeing him out there today against a team like the Knicks, like he's the reason why they're able to like dominate this team. He like opens everything up, and it's if he's healthy, man, like they're gonna go right back to back, and we're gonna be right back on that boat. It literally goes through that dude that brought me on the boat, bro.
It really does. And I think just his presence being felt there is just, even at the Garden, he's a hero. And people were upset about the Smart trade, but he took over the shoes for Marcus Smart. He loves the fans. He's showing
Okay,
he
but let's look at the Marcus Smart trade like 15 months later, and Brad Stevens was cooking, bro.
was
After this,
he was.
Marcus just got dumped. They had to pay this team to take him. It's crazy. But we would have never expected that coming off of a year off of. DPOY for Marcus, but Brad knew, Brad knew when it was time to move on, and that's coming from a somebody that loves Smart too. Like, but it was the right move, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And ultimately, that brought you Banner 18. Like, we won a championship. That was a hard
But
move.
also, who was like the number three most important player in the playoffs last year? I feel like Holiday, bro. Drew
Holiday.
Holiday was eating in the playoffs. Like those corner threes, he was killing. So that another last minute trade before the season last year. I think we could talk about 2024 year and like the summer leading up to it. We could talk about that for like 3 hours
Oh, we
probably.
could. We could. We could. It was just such a great year. Now, I wanted to get into this year, kind of. So you went to the game today. How is the energy? I haven't been able to actually make it to a game to the Garden yet, which I'm so disappointed in myself. But how has the energy been at the Garden this year opposed to last year, would you say?
So first of all, you're just a young kid grinding right now. These ticket prices are no joke these days. Like to get to a game plus to travel down from Maine for you, it's like it's not a joke. So you can't be down on yourself. And depending on how many games a year you go to, that shit has nothing to do with how big of a fan you are or how much you know. Like you could learn more in a dorm room cube by yourself with a computer and a tablet than like somebody that goes to every game, like
Yeah.
but what I will say about going to the games, the atmosphere has been amazing. Not just in Boston, but I watch the games on TV like you do, and I see the road, and it's like, holy shit, the Celtics bring out like so many fans on every road stop that they go on, and like I'm like flabbergasted by how many people are like showing up love on the road.
I
But
agree.
your question was about the energy today and in the Garden in general this year,
Yeah.
and it's just like I'm not gonna say there's been a little bit of a lull, maybe in like December and January when they were up and down at home. It's kind of been a little annoying, but today a couple parts of today felt like a little playoff atmosphere. So I'm excited for like these next couple weeks where we got Cavs, Denver, OKC. Then the TD is gonna be going crazy for those ones.
And how important are those games in perspective to playoffs? Like how important, how well do the Celtics need to play in order to make a statement coming up on playoffs?
So what I will say about the Celtics is I'm very happy about where they're at right now. Like I liked where that little lull was in December and January because right now it's like let's start moving up that mountain, and then start peaking right in April when the games start meaning a little more. You can't take that first round playoff series lightly either. We saw a couple years ago when Atlanta took us to like 6 games for no reason. You got to take care of whatever team comes in front of you, like in like 4 or 5 games. So, um, these games coming up, do they mean a lot to me? I really feel like I don't want to sound like I'm downplaying it because I'm just a fan in the stands, but like I don't really care on wins or losses, but I just want to see the team come out of these games like healthy. I want to see like Joe is not like putting our players in jeopardy. Like today, I don't know if you were watching the game, but like this coach for the Knicks, Thibodeau, is like putting Cat in the game after this guy like almost died on the bench, and like I did
No.
not understand that, bro. Like you're down 20 points. What are you doing?
Why would you
So
put him back in, especially when he's like went to the locker room, like let him rest. It's over.
exactly.
And
And
that's
you miss some of the things when you're at the games, and I wasn't exactly sure how bad Cat was, but in my head I was like, yo, the scoreboard is this, there's no chance at coming back. Would you like risk it? Like kind of crazy.
and would you say, do you think at the Garden we'll see kind of Joe Mazzulla kind of giving more rest towards the stars as we see the season get closer to the end, would you say?
Can you answer this question for me? We didn't see Craig out there yet
We
today, did
haven't.
we?
No.
In the last game, I don't think he played, but that's what we need. We need to like let guys like him spread their wings and play a little bit and take a little bit of time off of Jalen and Jason because those are the guys that mean the most to us. And we said KP, but even guys like Drew, they fit in like 2 weeks off for this guy to recover from his shoulder, and like it's very good to have him back out there. I saw him like looking good on a couple defensive possessions today, and it's like, yo, we are very rich right now, and we have a lot of great players and a lot of like secret weapons, but we just need all of them for a playoff series because you never know what could get thrown at you. Last year, we will be ignorant to not understand that we went against a lot of teams that were injured or whatever. This year it might not be the case. Like Cleveland looks like they're gonna be a wagon this year in the playoffs, and that shit is gonna take everything that Boston has. Like we're gonna need a full healthy squad, and I love the fact that there's no back-to-back bullshit in the playoffs, so we're gonna be good. Like Al Horford and KP every game, no sitting, you know.
I love that. I love that. And now I kind of want to ask you a question. What's your thoughts on Xavier Tillman then? Because you notice he hasn't played a lot this year. What would you see just going to the games? How do you approach that?
It just sucks about Tillman. I feel like in the beginning of the season, the Celtics gave this guy a little bit of an opportunity when Porzingis was injured, and I don't feel like I saw anything like that made me feel like this guy earned any more minutes. And then all of a sudden, he'll be in the doghouse and whatnot. Like I think the emergence of Kata during times this season has put a halt to Tillman's progression in this and that, and then what we should look at instead of all of this is Luke Cornett has been playing fucking amazing lately, bro.
As
Holy Lord, I'm in love with like watching this guy a couple of nights ago how he threw down some crazy ass dunk, bro. I was going crazy watching it.
I will
But
say, oh,
when
sorry.
you were, it's okay. When you was in Maine for some games, have you ever seen Luke Cornett play up there? Because he was up there a couple of years ago.
So this is the thing I was talking about. I really got into the games, I would say last year because I had a car, so I was able to drive to them because I was
Okay.
more in northern Maine. But this year I've been able to see a lot of players, and I will say Shireman, he's getting the time he deserves, and Drew Peterson, he's been incredible. But no, I missed him and Sam Hauser. But I tell you, Drew Peterson is gonna be like a Sam Hauser. I've been saying that and saying that.
You're not the only one, bro. I've definitely heard a couple people that have watched this guy's game and like, and it takes real diehard fans to be like watching a lot of main games and this and that. But like, yo, the guy's stat lines do not lie. Like the guy puts up points, this, that. So it just stinks that there's only like 500 spots in the NBA and like only like 350 guys play minutes. And unfortunately, like, it's very difficult to crack a rotation in this league, you know?
Yeah, it's difficult because I watch a lot of G League games, as I told you before this, and a lot of those guys could play in the NBA, but there's such talent up here, and it's so hard to be like, all right, well, we can't let you all play. So that's the tough part.
And then you want to add another layer to it. It's like teams like that are tanking, they don't even want to add these good players that are on their G League teams because they don't want to win these games like the Wizards right now and shit, you know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
no, I agree with that, and it's tough because then it gives you like a JD Davison who the Boston Celtics are such a great team and he's such a great player, but JD Davison isn't used to a role on a bench, I would say. So it's a lot harder for him because he's coming out of the gate shooting just from the starting lineup and he's used to that. He's used to being the guy, you know?
Yeah, I got in a little bit of trouble because of that guy.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Couple of the Celtics players were not happy with me last year because I posted a video of when this guy shit his pants before. He was like wearing like white pants and you saw a skid mark on his ass and like I just posted it as a joke and then it got like a couple million views and a couple of the players laughed like they were like questioning why I posted it like yo you're supposed to be like always like Celtics 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 but I don't know I just thought it was funny a guy shit his pants.
See, and that's the thing. You gotta have fun with it. Like I feel like being a Celtics fan, it's fun, you know?
You gotta have fun with it but you gotta like stand on what you post too. You gotta like people who know me and some people might see something I post and like completely judge me off of one thing I did, you know? So it's like you got to be careful. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
I will admit I loved last year during that playoff run, just going on my phone and seeing you out there with the broom, seeing you out there. And that's someday where I want to be with all of you guys chilling there, having beat the heat, all of those signs. That's the thing I look forward to. And it hyped me up. Like, I'm like, all right, this is why I'm so hyped up getting into these games because look what we see last night. You know what I mean?
Hey, well, coming on this podcast, bro, you giving me these flowers, it makes me happy because like I'm just a fan in the stands, but I'm always like thinking about like, yo, how could I just make things more fun and shit? Like, I could easily call this Budweiser company and tell them to make me these signs and then hold them up outside the garden and before the games. And like that was what I did with the Beat the Heat stuff. And like all these signs are from my house. Like I got them all waiting. Like I'm seeing who the Celtics are gonna play next, and I'm thinking about what we're gonna do. Like when we brought the signs, like who wants Boston next? Like I'm just trying to add that flair and let the people know like Celtics Nation is like uh we're the real deal, and it's not just me either. Like there's like hundreds of thousands of people like me that go crazy for the team, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, that's been just a huge reason I got hyped because not even I feel like being there made it a lot of fun, like having those signs up, screaming, getting all hyped, but just seeing that on TV too, being like, okay,
Oh, I know those idiots over there.
yeah, it's like that's my home too, and that's like it makes it worth it walking down the halls all those years, being like, why are you still rocking them when they lose and stuff? It's like
You kept
because
the receipts in your head though, right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Maybe there was a couple kids in back in school that like always gave you a difficult time about the Celtics, but like maybe after they won, like you could puff your chest out a little bit at those people now, like
Oh yeah.
get off my back.
The tattoo just makes it sink in. They're like, why'd you get it? Because I'm a real fan. That's why I got. It's actually funny too. I would bet with my baseball coach every year. We would bet money. He would have all 29 teams, and I had the Celtics every year. Last year,
That's
got
funny.
that 20. He signed it. He was like, "You deserve the 20," and I was like, "Yep." My senior year, and I finally got it. I tell you what. Uh,
That's awesome.
just incredible. So, last question, and I'll let you get out of here. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. I really appreciate it again. But
Hell yeah.
I just wanted to ask, so from you, what are your expectations? You kind of already went on it. Actually, two more questions, if you don't mind me asking. What are your expectations going into playoffs? What do you want to see the Boston Celtics do in order to win Banner 19?
So I'm gonna answer this in two parts. First and foremost, we're gonna talk about the fans. I expect us fans, and we can only control this. I want us fans to go crazy. I know the ticket prices are expensive. You got to start saving your pennies right now for the playoffs. Maybe skip out on these Denver and OKC games so you could get rowdy for the playoffs. But yeah, as fans, dude, we got to bring the intensity up for the playoffs, and that's what I'm mostly excited for. But on the players, it's like I need to make TD loud because they've been playing better on the road than in Boston lately. So that's another thing. We need our guys to go crazy at home. What am I excited for? My expectations just like the games to go up another level, like those chants to sometimes in the games like the team will start the Let's Go Celtics chant. Well, today at the game, like there was like no team starting the chants, and like I heard a couple get started organically, and like shit like that makes me a little happy because it's like, yo, you got to wake the players up. Like you don't have to wait for the freaking chant to get started by the PA announcer or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's such an important factor because, like you already mentioned, the road games, it's like being a home game. So, because there's so much Celtics there, and it's
Yep.
incredible. I love it.
And that's going to continue across to the playoffs. Like wherever the Celtics go in the first round, the tickets will be very affordable. And I think that Celtics fans are going to definitely like pack whatever the arena is that they go to in the first round.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a great experience, and I'm hyped for it. My final question: if you had to pick a starting five Celtics, of all time, what would it be?
Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis.
I love that. I love that. Do you want to hear who I voted for the All-Star? I had people on the podcast and they were giving me every other person, and I said that exact starting five. So you and I share a lot in common. We really do. It's this five.
Hey, we said it before we were recording. We're very happy. Like right now, being a Celtics fan is literally like at the apex, and I'm very happy to have that starting five. Obviously, there's freaking like 80 other crazy, amazing Hall of Famers that wore the Celtics jersey that we could talk about, but like we're talking about the present right now and what we could be like celebrating in a couple months, and like this group is very special. That's all we'll say about that.
It really is. Well, again, I wanted to give a huge shout out to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on. We'd love to have you on again sometime. Thank you so much.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Celtics Nation rise, like, subscribe, follow, review. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you so much. Peace, guys.